Yeah.
Ready? Let's see if we can do this.
Once you let him in, it's done, you know.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the... Oh, hold on. Shit. Hold on. Wait, one more time.
Can you say shit in a song like that?
Did you forget the lyric?
No, I forgot how to play it. Hey, dude, come on. It's hard to like sing and play at the same time. Ready?
I can't sing.
All right.
I can't sing.
I guess you can't be in a band then.
No. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one horse open
There you go.
I can't even lip sing. I don't know the words. I can't even lip sing.
What kind of...
You're trying to do my best Pavarotti, and Olivier can't even lip sync.
I'm not even trying, man.
God. You know, you're being operatic.
Instantly regret when I connected.
Yeah. Or your reputation forever now.
You know, it's funny. I mean, that's kind of that could be our tagline. Like, you're going to regret watching this. You're going to regret.
Yeah. You will stop.
Ryan from Austin, Texas.
There you go.
Hello. Good morning.
What is up with the
White.
Does that say SCADA on your hat?
OT Skatacon. Yep.
Oh, you geek.
Yeah.
SCADACon.
They had
You at SCADACon next year.
it was probably my favorite event I've been to in the industry. They had so many system integrators and speakers. They did it in Houston for the first time last year. It's a group called Automation Ladies. And they hosted it was I don't want to say masterclass, but it was what a masterclass should be. You learned all these real applications and how to actually do things on the plant floor. Is pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it as cool as
Three
SantaCon?
hats.
I mean, SantaCon would have been cool.
SantaCon.
Oh my God.
They should do two.
It's no longer enough to teach a class anymore. It's got to be a master class, right?
Yeah. If it's not a masterclass, it's not worth it.
Right.
Supermaster.
Yeah. Instead of like a class for dummies, right? Right, Rob?
Yeah, we
What's
flipped
up?
it. Yeah, it used to be for dummies, and now it's for masters.
Yes.
So, hey everyone, welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry New Year, and happy holidays
next week too, right?
Yes, and
That's right.
It
25th.
starts the same day as Christmas, right?
Yeah,
That's Christmas night.
Christmas night. Okay.
8 crazy nights.
Hey, crazy nights. Better.
So I was thinking.
We should play the Adam Sandler video.
Yeah,
That's like the best. Ever.
Splice that in. Splice it in and post it.
Splice it in.
yeah. I love the Leonard Nimoy and Harrison Ford bit in that song. It's so hilarious. It's great. And Olivier, you look lost. Is this a French thing? Is this you know you're not an Adam Sandler guy? SNL, you know?
We do have. Well, I've been in the US for long enough now, but
Oh yeah.
I think the tradition was to watch some American movies, but I'm still at Bruce Willis type of movies for Christmas.
Yeah.
Right?
Die Hard. There you go. Tis the season. Tis the season.
Right. I tried to watch Red One yesterday night, and
Ugh. Hold on. Let me do a spit take.
guy is old, but not the same.
Wait a second. You guys probably already. I'm gonna go run get a prop. You've probably seen this.
No, I
I'm
mean, if you
scared.
like those movies,
Oh my God.
Batman is the one to watch.
Batman.
Batman or Fat Man?
Batman.
Okay,
I
Okay.
heard that
let
one.
me add that to the list.
I think Netflix has a whole
No.
they have a whole subsidiary of Christmas movies you've never heard of. There's like a whole
Yeah, that one is awesome.
Yeah.
Action packed. Santa is a badass.
Yeah. You know, I have no idea where
Look
this
at that.
came from.
I saw that, Rob. I got one of those.
Oh, no way. Wow,
That's
really
cool.
dismal.
The countdown.
Oh, no way.
The whole world can globally relate to Christmas as, Hans Gruber falling out of Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Go.
I need that. I need that.
And so,
my
everything
God,
there
dude.
through December, and then,
It should be
That's
it should be you, Rob,
crazy.
on this one because like the look and feel kind of matches, and we should have the IoT Coffee logo branding somewhere on that one.
Mm.
yeah.
Some good
Let's
swag
say
there.
you're
Some swag.
and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yippee-ki-yay.
Hey, we got to do the Elevate Our Kids plug. So, hey, everyone. It's a giving season, theoretically. Theoretically, right,
For
guys?
tax reasons, it is.
Tax reasons, yes.
Come on, guys. Come on. Don't give it away. But yeah, we're just okay. Anyway, so if you're into charity and you're into helping kids K through 12 engage in our digital world, you want to help bridge the digital equity divide, please consider donating to Elevate Our Kids at www.elevateourkids.org. Guess what? We're working with T-Mobile. Shout out to T-Mobile. Okay. Putting laptops, devices, okay, and connectivity, because you have to connect those devices, right? And we're going to find some kids in Asheville, North Carolina. If you remember, they had that disaster, natural disaster. It was called Hurricane Helene. Well, we're going to try to help them out this year, elevate our kids, and hopefully you will have a charitable heart this year, because it was a pretty good year, right? Everyone, NVIDIA stock went up crazy. Just sell like 20 or 30 of them. And then,
returns,
yeah, come on.
Take a little off the top.
Maybe donate a Bitcoin.
Oh, one whole Bitcoin.
Wow.
One Bitcoin.
It's not that much. It's one of them.
It's not that much.
What?
Steve Brummer.
You can buy a pizza with that,
Yes, I mean we could.
Yeah, you go to Papa John's.
There you go. And so hopefully you will donate this year and help us reach a rather, sort of modest goal of $25,000. But we are looking to place those donation funds in Asheville, North Carolina. And we're working actively with T-Mobile and other partners to make that happen. So please,
Awesome.
yes, Merry New Year and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thanks T-Mobile for helping us out here, It's good to collaborate with them.
Yeah. So hey, what's this deal with like friggin' Tay 2.0?
She's back. She is back. Tay is back, with a vengeance. You thought that the new LLMs were going to be just fine, but it turns out it's Microsoft Tay on Twitter all over again. It only took a matter of time to absorb the entire internet and go to hell in a handbasket, right?
This took a little bit longer, maybe.
So what he's referring to, there was some news, some researchers, were working with advanced LLMs with what is the new model? The O1 model? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they were finding that it would actively try to deceive them. Like they programmed it, they have a goal in mind, and the AI would go off the reservation and start doing independent ops and doing what it wanted to do. And they're like, whoa, like that. And it would try to deceive the people, the humans who are in charge of it and stuff like that. So that was a little concerning. They'd even put in this oversight guardrail kind of stuff. You always hear about talking about guardrails on AI so it doesn't get too crazy or whatever, or take over the planet. It actively tried to disable those guardrails, the AI did. And then when they would confront the AI, like, hey, what you doing? And it would lie to them. And when they would totally call it on how it was subverting them, it made up lies, it made up stories, it said you're talking about. I didn't do it, or fully fabricated explanations.
Sounds like some employees I've had over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well, see, because it's learning from us, right?
I was going to say, learning from us too much. It said it would change the data sets too, to fit whatever its agenda was. So it was not just like lying and putting a spin on data. It was fabricating and modifying the data. And then after, like Rob said, after you call it out, it's like, no, I'm not lying to you. So now LLMs are gaslighting us. This is terrible.
This is where we are.
Right back where we started from.
Where we started with Ted on Twitter.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
remember when we remember Olivier, they were there. We put Tay out there on Twitter, and she absorbed the internet. Was it
was out there for like 24 hours or something.
It only took her 24 hours to turn into Hitler or something like that.
Basically, yeah, it was
exactly
like really racist stuff. Like,
super racist chatbot Tay.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's like, wow.
Well, you know,
don't let humanity be your guide.
Yeah.
For learning. Bad idea.
You know,
they say garbage in, garbage out.
Well, hey, Olivier, what's your take on it? I mean, should we be like throwing this stuff into industrial environments and having them orchestrate in real time all of our
Totally. Now, like
operating drill bits and chainsaws and whatever.
Changing production values, torque control units, changing of the set values.
One thing you need in that kind of industrial automation context is determinism. So we know what's going to happen. It's going to go wrong, right? It's deterministic.
We should make a movie about this.
We should.
The AI take over in these industrial situations, like drill bits, and people are like, just,
kind of like one of those Microsoft Vision videos that we used to make, but with the twist.
Office 2019. Yeah, that never happened. That was a cool video, though.
That was a cool video.
Yeah,
determinism. It's kind of the the other side of the coin. That's where it's such a paradox to use stuff in these environments, right? So
there is no love for determinism anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but isn't it the case that all of this is going away because AI is going to solve it for us?
You know what? Hey, you know what, Rob? Actually, determinism is something that's absolutely new to a lot of people. They've heard of real time. They've heard of batch. They have no idea what determinism is. It's like crazy. Seriously, it's a new term for a lot of people.
Yeah. Wait, kids, this is your Uncle Billy here from Love Actually talking to you. And I'm here to tell you, most analytics that we've had, it's all deterministic. If this, then that. It really is going to happen.
Yeah.
AI, formerly known as machine learning, is probabilistic. It might be right. It might be the answer. It might be
possibilistic.
Right. It's possible.
Not even
Oh man.
It's more like maybe if I feel like it these days, right? Or it's like screw off.
Now, the common
do what I want to do.
Narrative of why you should use AI versus deterministic type rules engines is, and they use an example like OG Tesla. You wrote this rules engine that was 10 million lines of code to think of every probably edge case in your rules engine, if this, then that, and then put AI instead, and it just kind of absorbs the world and figures it out, and it's better. And it was less code.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe?
Like 90% of the time or 95% of the time. That's the gist of it, right? Like it's not 100%. It is less.
Yeah. But it's just to learn. Maybe.
But I mean, it's gonna kill things, based on how we think of things today, right? SAS is gonna go away. It's gonna be no more SAS. It's all gonna be.
Is that thing that did you read that post?
Oh, from Satya.
Eric. I just said no.
I read that post. I watched the Satya video. What cracked me up was the novel idea from Satya that we're going to have intelligence and logic in the database. and it's going to be there instead of all these layers of software and SaaS and all that stuff. And I'm like, wait a second, where have I heard of putting logic in the database? Oh, stored procedures. Been there, kids. Sorry.
In the 90s.
Oh my God. It's the
Chickens,
silver,
stored
it's the
procedures.
silver bullet, man. It's the silver bullet.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I think that is one of the challenges with AI, especially when you try to bring it down to these deterministic environments. It struggled because it was so tough to make it reliable, get to those X number of nines, right? That you have these environments. And even for like computer vision, I mean, come on, man, it's like these things still identify like little children as being 60-year-old men, bald men. I mean, it's like, and that's always been the challenge, right? Yeah. And the cost.
Well,
it's not like Transformers somehow eliminated these problems, right? Mm-hmm. And that is why even ML has had trouble scaling in industry. And then, but we have all these talking heads who don't understand the challenges of implementation and getting to that level of industrial grade, enterprise grade, who would talk all kinds of voodoo magic about this stuff. And it's just so disconnected, right? Even a lot of these computing guys that I engage with these guys a lot. They're calling us Luddites. It's like, no, you guys didn't solve anything. You're scaling out to get to 95%, and that's not good enough, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these folks running industries at the level, want to save costs by removing the humans in the loop, right? And they think that there's a shortcut here by saying, well, I'll have AI do it, 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
And, the human in the loop is a critical part of any of these deployments. And I feel that 2025 is going to be the year of some pretty gnarly AI deployments that we'll be talking about. And hopefully none of them are connected to actual real world actuation and danger. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing about some really bad.
Well, the people I'm talking to in different places on actual projects, they are seeing, interestingly, they are more realistic. They are working in that domain of industrial automation and so on, and they're more realistic than many. They do believe that GenAI has some interest as an interface for operators, right? Not as what's controlling the thing, but it's something that informs the it's an HMI. Yeah. It's something that is at that level, right?
Yeah. And takes a lot of complexity.
You have some AI that is not Gen AI, that is useful, and that can work in boundaries that are reasonably acceptable. When we talk about determinism, having been defining that for people using a real-time OS many times in the past, I was trying to explain to engineers. So determinism in a real-time operating system is several things, right? It's not how fast you're going to have an answer, is how sure you're going to get that answer in between that amount of time and that amount of time. And you need to land in that little scale here 100% of the time. That's what determinism is about. So if your AI algorithm, not Gen AI, but AI, gives you 100% of the time an answer that is between acceptable percentage of accuracy, then if you accept that and you understand that and you code it with that in mind, yes, AI, yes, right? Not Gen AI. Put Gen AI aside for now. Gen AI is human interface.
Olivier called out, so our dear friend, Eric Simoni and Aaron Ellsbrook over at Clearblade, that's exactly what they did when they integrated Gen AI into Clearblade. They used it as an HMI. Instead of a person on the web portal clicking to create maybe a rules engine or whatever, they use Gen AI to let you talk to it and rapidly build out all the things that you're going to be monitoring. Like a lot of that work, because there's lots of setup work in an IoT platform, right? Just to get things going. And so they didn't use it for the production stuff. They used it just to help you configure the system. So I think Olivier nailed it there. That's a great use for that.
Yeah, and because of the latency issues with these generative AI applications, it's suited for human speed, not machine speed, right? And that's one of the we talked about this last week, actually. That's one of the challenges of bringing it into like actual hardcore, like, the RAN, and doing L1, L2 processing. It's like, well, you're not going to use it for that,
No.
That is a really great point. And so that, I think that's where you're going to find a lot of fit for purpose utility. And I think that's really important. Debbie, you and I've talked about this a lot, is that you just have to make sure that you manage the risk and you don't have it as a critical point in a critical system. You just can't depend on it. But finding that, fit for purpose utility, that's a tricky thing. But then it's also not revolutionary. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I think that the what people have been trying to do with generative AI is make it like the main event and like the thing that's up front, where I feel like a lot of its utility really is in the back end, or maybe these non-sexy use cases that are more narrow and more purposeful. And so I think it'll be interesting. I think the challenge will be how companies will feel like this. Will it help productivity? Will it save them money? I don't know. I think they're trying to figure out right now if the juice is worth the squeeze at this point, right? So if you have an employee that can do maybe a report that took them 2 days, and maybe they can do it in 1 day or 3 hours. I think the challenge is, there's no guarantee that employee is going to take that extra time and do more work, right? They can go take naps. They can do other things. They don't necessarily have to give that productivity back to the company. So I think on an individual level, it'll be interesting to see. I think, there are some smart people who are going to be able to leverage it and do really cool, interesting things. It may not be marquee things or something that you just like, oh, wow, this is kind of, this is world changing. Maybe it does help. Maybe it helps you get home 10 minutes faster because you're doing like less work. I don't know. But I think the 2025, I think 2025 is going to be the year of results. So I think we're gonna, from all the people, anyone can hype, right? So I think next year is going to be all about results. So I think you're going to see a separation between the people who kind of talk and the people who actually find a way to do and really leverage these technologies.
Oh, well, no. This year was the year of results. This was come on. We've been in this hype cycle for 2 years, and the thesis was this is exponential, friggin' revolution. You saw some of the leading consulting firms just like 3-6 months in, write all these reports, hypothesizing and forecasting massive, like trillions of dollars of economic value. So no, this was the year. So this is where Leonard, I think
the keyword is forecasting. I think it will not be the year until the hyperscalers report revenue for AI separated from cloud. When they start doing that means it's actually used.
But actually, that's all. I mean, the whole thing, that end of it was the hallucination.
Yeah.
Come on, right? I've seen it. Really is. I agree with Debbie in terms of it's the non-sexy stuff, but they keep trying to make it the shiny object. And the people that I've seen that are really using it and are getting some value out of it are doing things like eliminating all of the churn around Power BI reports and things like that, right? It's the little things that actually do provide greater value. But I think 2025 is going to be the people that actually do what Olivier is talking about in terms of actually separating out the money. Because what a lot of people miss is that it's not necessarily revenue, it's cost to operate.
Yeah, but quite honestly, I think a lot of people, we also have to always recognize there's a denial phase, okay, where there's this expectation or the narrative, okay, continues to project this, vision and exponential, logarithmic, ridiculous curve, but everyone is struggling to figure out, okay, where is the value, attributing value to the technology and what they've invested in the implementations. If this stuff was just knocking things out of the park, people would be splitting out the benefits in the reporting at the beginning of this year. Because again, the hype started 2 years ago. Companies have been messing around with this stuff for more than 2 years. So this is a much longer journey than people think, right? And so at this point, there should have been that metaverse, moment, right? Where
moment.
That industrial metaverse moment. Has that happened? No. And and what was everyone telling you? Well, this is different from metaverse because metaverse was just an idea. The technology wasn't there. It's like, no, technology was actually there for 20 years. What are you talking about?
Zook killed the buzzword, basically. That's what happened. That's what happened.
At least Zuck has, sunk tens of billions of dollars into trying to figure that stuff out. So we'll just let him keep doing that.
Yeah. And Apple, Leonard, we see that vision device behind you. Apple tried, but people are just like meta what?
They're all just waiting for the next
metadata.
Metadata.
Pete said something a few moments ago that really grabbed me. He talked about human in the loop. And maybe companies trying to get rid of the human in the loop, right? With all this stuff, Palantir is famous for saying we're using AI and humans in the loop to drive value from our technology. I just want everybody to remember the first person to ever really put out the idea of getting rid of the human in the loop was Thanos.
Thanos, yeah.
Thanos was the
How did that work?
out of the loop
that he used. Your job can be automated, so you're gonna be out of here. You're part of the 50% that gets eliminated.
Exactly. Look at the lens. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
V1, man.
B1, huh? Yep.
Nice.
I love it.
The operative word is hollow. Operative word, hollow.
Think how exciting that was, though, when, what was it, Terry Myerson, and, the very first, preview of that, forever ago. Way
too soon.
Yeah.
Someone should have told them too soon. Don't go there.
Well, now
things too soon.
Well, now Google's launched their XR platform. By the way, with Hugo Swart, who used to run XR for Qualcomm, is now at Google. So
yeah, Mr. Spatial Computing.
Yeah, so they have our own spatial computing platform and all that other stuff, and keeping at it, which is pretty cool. And then Leonard's, still working with his Apple Vision thing there, so that's good.
Oh, dude, I love.
Props to Apple. I mean, on the one hand, I think it still represents the ultimate state of the art, the Apple Vision.
Well, and hopefully they keep.
You tried them all. Nothing even comes close to the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah,
it costs some more dinero than most people have. Yeah,
and Samsung, announced Project Wuhan. It's not out yet. It's going to be probably.
Did you say Project Wuhan?
No, I know. It's funny. The real-time translation, it says Wuhan instead of Wuhan. And in Korean, and by the way, if people don't know, I'm freaking Korean. All right. They might not know it because Lee is like a universal Asian person's name.
It's a universal, yeah.
It's kind of like, exactly. But Muhan means limitless. Like Han is barrier, Mu means no. So no barrier. That thing is
Samsung. Limitless.
I mean, they're fast following or slow following actually, because they're probably 2-3 years behind Apple, but it's probably a better direction. And yeah, it's expensive, but the way I look at this stuff, it's like, remember the DV camcorders? When they first came out, they were like $2,000, man. They were like friggin' expensive. And everyone else was using, those high 8 camcorders that were like this big.
Shoulder
mounted. It was like tiny. And when I was touring Europe, and this was like 1997, people were like freaking out. They were like going, what the hell is that? But most of them would not be able to afford this thing. I paid $2,400 for it, bought it in Tokyo, and think about how expensive $2,400 was in 1997. Right? And
it was like $2,400.
It exploded. But also when again, I cover the media industry as well. This thing is killing it, man. They are going nuts over it. So if you go to NAB show, you see an entirely different thing. But if you talk to people in gaming, they think this thing is a dud, right? But they never showcase games on this thing. But if you ever check out like friggin', what is it? They have a What If, a Marvel application. That thing is ridiculous. It really truly shows you the future of entertainment. It's done by the Industrial Light and Magic, right? So it takes guys like that to come up with like these content formats that'll just blow you away. I bought a 8K 360 camera, and I was tinkering around with it over the weekend. And here's the thing. The Vision Pro, the resolution is so high, it makes 8K 360 look like shit. It's not good enough, so you have to go to 16K. So there's so much headroom in this thing. But
16K.
Man. Yeah. Who cares about all the industrial stuff and all that, man? This thing is the consumers, man. If you're you have kids, you should be, taking spatial video. Trust me, you'll regret it if you don't. And you might as well now, especially if you have an iPhone 15 Pro, a 16, and a 16 Pro. Take spatial video, even if you don't have one of these, because you'll regret it.
The whole world's going to live in regret, obviously.
But think about it.
It begs the question, Leonard. It begs the question: what is technology is here? What is preventing that metaverse paradigm to really pierce and being used? Like, why aren't people are already like living in virtual worlds, on their phones, whatever, and they live in this kind of like bubbles of information and whatever. Why, technology being here, are we not yet in that, player one, ready player one kind of scenarios? Why, what's going on? Why? I personally think that there's this problem of we still humans, we still need that physical connection with other people, and that will not go away. Like, humans will evolve, but it will take millions of years, not few years. And so, like, people like this, since HoloLens 1, this interaction with a virtual world is a nice promise, but people don't buy it. People don't want to get there. And it's not, to me, the Vision Pro problem is not the pricing. People take freaking loans to get a phone today. Right? Phones cost $2,000, like $2,000 for a freaking phone. That's what people cannot afford that. Most people can't. They still have a freaking smartphone. You go down to Africa, everyone has a smartphone. That's the only way of connecting to the internet. But how can they afford that? And so, because there is a need for it, it's their connection to the world. So and there is ROI in that. Vision and accessing that metaverse thing And I don't know. It might happen or not. Maybe there's going to be another way of interacting with virtual world, right?
But you're right. No one gives a crap about metaverse. This is all about. No, I'll just make a real quick point. This is about Minority Report. You know that scene where Tom Cruise is sitting there and he gets that little glass holographic memory chip thing, puts it in and starts watching 3D or immersive video of his son who died. That's what it's about. It's about memories. So this is not, that is number one. That is the prime thing. And I'm telling you, when you experience, like I hold my daughter on my chest with this thing on, I film her. And when I play it back, it's like she's right there. And so 20 years from now, when I'm an old wrinkled dude and my daughter is grown up and she's being, obnoxious and thinks daddy is the dumbest guy in the world, I'm going to go back to those videos
already there
to remind me why I'm not going to, disown her. Right.
Yeah. I personally think that as science is making big progress,
dude,
it's a question of interface, human machine interface. This principle of having something in front of your eyes is not working because it cuts you from the real world. Now, when technology is able to inject that directly into the nerve or whatever in a way that is safe, because we're using technology today that was deemed unsafe like 10, 20 years ago. So it's going to happen at some point. Like whatever means it's going to happen where that interface will be directly to your neurons and not through a physical thing in front of your eyes. And I think that's when we're gonna shoot into that metaverse world, not with that big thing in front of your eyes.
I think Debbie was going to, by the way, say something.
Sorry, Debbie.
Yeah. Well, now I advised in this area. I've done private stuff and XR for many years, and regardless of the technology, the ability for a particular technology to catch on and for people to really be able to gravitate towards it, it has to have some type of practical application, right? So even though I think the Vision Pro is a tremendous, technological feat, like when I saw some of the advertising around it, like they had a person, they had the Vision Pro headset on, their room is completely quiet and clean. I'm like, where's the dog? Where's the laundry? Where's the kid that's like knocked over stuff, right? So it seems very kind of removed from what people's everyday, day-to-day lives are. Some people are very privileged to be able to have those things, but I think in terms of wide-scale adoption of almost anything, you have to have some use cases that are very practical, maybe not that interesting or sexy, but something that helps people to really latch on to it. And maybe that's kind of a gateway into those type of things. But like, people don't want to be chipped like pets. No, absolutely not. I know we talk about computer brain interfaces, and we're seeing some things that are helping, especially people with like neurological issues and stuff like that. And even that is getting kind of scary because, for example, there are people, let's say the company that made the interface that you're using, if they go out of business or something, some of these people, they have to actually have operations to get their stuff taken out, right? Even though it works, but because the company is no longer in business, they literally have to give up technology. That's like a problem.
No, I think that's like people will, I think some folks, like we see it already, are maybe in their situation is they are looking for some kind of escape from their situation. And so I think if the technology is there and like Oliver said, it's like kind of irrationally expensive, they'll still try to acquire that to escape their environment. I think, by the way, and this is kind of a little bit of a random thing, but I was listening this week about some reports around the GLP-1 drugs are like now being considered like anti-hedonic drugs. So they're helping people curb alcoholism and drug addiction. And so any of these kind of behaviors that we're starting to see, like I would be not surprised to see in 2025 more focus on, people moderating behaviors, being prescribed these drugs to moderate behaviors that could drive them to more kind of obsessive or self-harm type of behaviors that would require them to then kind of put on a helmet and kind of tune out. So I think there's kind of like a really interesting thing going on here with society and technology and escape and engagement and all that. It's like, I wouldn't say a perfect storm, but I think it's really starting to converge. And, with everybody saying healthcare and technology and it's all starting to come together. It's really interesting.
It's pretty crazy, huh?
From a sci-fi perspective, a lot of the things that you see are, somewhat dystopian or whatever. I feel like we haven't learned anything. We haven't learned a damn thing, right? When you see 2001 Space Odyssey about how a computer is taking over, like we're allowing this to happen.
Sure. Yeah.
So we've been told, it's been foretold why this is important for us to think about, but we've just totally gone buck wild. Like I feel like 1984, we're past that now.
Oh yeah,
that's tame.
We're allowing all this stuff to happen. It is horrible.
Yeah.
Well, people, it's also like we know already people have given up their privacy willingly and all of their data in exchange for whatever Facebook likes and stuff like that. Like people have already, unfortunately, society, when you go back to the Tay comment from the very beginning, the total population of humanity and their kind of desires and stuff like that, like we're not too bright as a species, like as humanity, we're just not too bright, and we're easily conned into giving up freedoms for pleasure and or perceived pleasure, and that's what's happening right now.
Convenience is a huge
convenience. We want convenience.
I think it's a global case of FOMO.
And then that's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's FOMO, that, and then
so we're not that bright. We're doing this to ourselves. We've already seen the future already.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We're heading there full speed ahead, even though we go, no.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's look forward
to go on that bridge and jump,
But, like the whole Intel situation is a perfect example. Like that board individually, these folks may be, pretty smart, but collectively, they're exponentially stupid. They collectively make the dumbest decisions and respond and react to crisis in the dumbest way. And that's the sad thing. You can have the smartest people in the room, throw in some bad politics and, conflict of interest and self-interest. And next thing you know, you have the world today.
Stuff going on.
How about that genius board at Intel? Yeah.
I think I have a solution. I have a solution for all of that, Yeah, we'll all go to Mars and start again from scratch.
Yeah, just start.
Wow, that was good. Wow.
Worked out for Mark Watney.
He had those potatoes he grew in the poo-poo.
So why are we trying to go to Mars and there's more water at 7-Eleven than there is on Mars?
Oh my God, that's like the quote of the year. That's awesome.
7-Eleven's having a renaissance, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm all in on 7-Eleven. I'm rooting for
That's
that.
like saying, hey, let's go.
Let's go get a Slurpee.
Yeah, after this. Play some asteroids, get a Slurpee.
Yeah, Debbie, you have a great point. I mean, you don't need to go to Mars to live in an uninhabitable environment. Just go to, build a house in Death Valley and live there, I mean, or it doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. But it's for the advancement of humanity, but humanity is what it is. It's Tay and Tay 2.0.
And idiocracy.
And yeah,
Idiocracy 3.0.
it is. It's what Elon says. Is like, humanity can continue to, survive in, if we decide to blow ourselves up on the planet.
Mm.
Yeah. Remember, the big problem with Mars is that it doesn't have a magnetic field.
Yeah.
That's what makes it uninhabitable. That causes all the other problems that makes it not habitable. Is there's no magnetic field like we have.
From gravity, right?
It's just magnetic field makes magic happen. It makes you be able to capture atmosphere. It makes you keep away all the solar radiation that would kill us, and a bunch of other cool shit. Yeah. Amazing. You have to have this kind of iron core spinning inside your planet. Yeah. Anyway, y'all already know.
Poor people. So.
Earth is
well, people are trying to get off of Earth.
That's a good point, because we've made all these dystopian movies. We've already thought of every possible outcome. Do you remember the movie called Elysium?
Yeah, Elysium.
Jodie Foster, and all the rich people were orbiting the Earth in the school space station, and all the masses of humanity were fighting each other for survival.
It doesn't end well for the rich people, though.
We're going to tear it down. Exactly.
That's what these AIs are learning as they ingest novel versions of these these movies, or as they grade.
Yeah, don't train the AI on that
Warner
movie.
Brothers, it learns all these things. I mean, geez, it's just weird. Such a weird.
I just started the Bobbyverse series of books, so I don't want anyone to spoil it for me, but that's Dennis Taylor. And it starts with this guy who just sold a startup and decides to buy in on a company, on a startup that will freeze his brain and promise to resuscitate him in a way in the future when technology has reached whatever level, right? And the guy does sign the contract, goes out, and dies like run over by a car, and wakes up as an AI, right?
Oh.
And that's the beginning of the whole thing. I'm very much at the beginning of that, and he starts, he starts realizing, as a tech guy, what's going on, and all the possibilities and so on. So that's
cool.
That's pretty interesting.
What's it called again? What's the book?
It's a series. The first one is called We Are Legion. We Are Bob. So it's like We Are Legion and We Are Bob, and so it's the Bobbyverse. That's what they call that.
Love it.
I'm reading go ahead. I was just going to say I'm actually reading the original Godzilla novel translated from Japanese.
Oh,
wow.
Great! It's great.
Really?
Remember Godzilla -1? The movie Godzilla -1. Like, it's definitely they really nailed the feel of the original novel, and so
it's awesome.
People to pick that up because it is about technology, dystopia, societal vengeance.
Right.
This whole thing, kind of, we always have this primordial fear of what happens when tech gets out of control. But this is written in 55, I think.
Yeah, right.
So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, good
Godzilla
read.
-1 was so awesome.
Oh, such a good movie.
Nailed it.
If you all ever get a chance, I had pleasure, I had never seen it before, to see the original Westworld with Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was great.
Again.
That's a good one. You're right.
Watch that one again.
Yul Brynner. Boy, yeah.
But Pete, it's interesting that you made that point, because it just it reminds me that that there were a hell of a lot of really smart people before us, and somehow we think that we're smarter than them. And
What are you talking about? We are.
The smartest people in the world were
they collectively did
1810.
Yeah. And then how many, what our potential for doing extremely dumb stuff is even today, and somehow we think that technology is going to solve things, and it's going to be the thing that saves us from our proclivity for mass stupidity. But you know.
I play you guys, speaking of all this math stupidity, a 1 minute video. Remember Justine Bateman, sister of Jason Bateman? All right. She's like going medieval lately against generative AI and everything, and let's linked to content and Hollywood.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm going to play this video here.
We'll have like a little bit of a definition of what generative AI is. Think of it as like a blender. And if you have a blender at home and you turn it on, what does it do? Just kind of put into it. Yeah. It depends on what you put into it. So it cannot function. Generative AI cannot function unless it's fed things. Okay? And then you turn on the blender and you give it a prompt, which is your little spoon, and you get a little spoonful, a little Frankenstein spoonful out of it, of what you asked for. So what is going into the blender? 100 years of film and television, or many, many years of doctor's reports or students' essays or whatever it is. And so in the film business in particular, that's what we call theft. It's the biggest violation. Yeah. And the term that continues to be used is all we did. I think the CTO of OpenAI, I believe that's her position, I forget her name, when she was asked on some interview recently, you know, what do you say about the fact that you didn't ask permission to take it? She said, well, it was all publicly available. And I will say this. If you own a car, if I see your car on the street, it's publicly available. But somehow it's illegal for me to take it. So that's what we have the Copyright Office for. And I don't know how well staffed they are to handle something like this, but this is the biggest copyright violation in the history of that office. The entertainment business will be flattened because the entertainment business is a pipeline of duties, right? From conception to release. And you take out too many chunks of that pipeline and it'll...
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of see that a little bit. Not sure I totally 100% aligned.
Ben Affleck and her.
Oh, Ryan's on mute. Ryan's on mute.
It's weird. If someone takes my car, I don't have a car to use. If someone reads an article online, they still have an article to read online.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best analogy that she's using there.
Yeah.
She's talking about, remember, right as soon as ChatGPT came out, and then you started seeing lawsuits from Lady Gaga and authors of novels saying, I'm finding everything about my novel inside your LLM. That's kind of what she was getting at. Copyrighted works that wasn't open in public, but they scanned it and grabbed it anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like there's violations of copyright when people are training on copyrighted material. I mean, no question. And right now there's no architecture or even kind of laws on the books to make that transparent about.
But you know, here's the problem. There's data for making your model better, and then there is data to make it all knowing. And those are two different things. And so what they're trying to do with AGI is make it all knowing as well. And so the dilemma they face is, how do you do that when the corpus of data that these things are ingesting are of dubious quality, number one. Right. There is no marker for what is good, bad. I mean, you know, actually the worst,
what's not true.
The best case, which is actually pretty horrible, is relevance, a relevance score or something like that, that might somehow arbitrarily be tagged by a bunch of people who might just be memeing the content. You know what? It's a formula for disaster. None of this stuff works out in terms of being able to, develop an AI or AGI that is quality. Do you know what I'm saying? And that deficiency in quality can manifest itself in a lot of really nasty ways, like what these research are finding with O1, right? And obviously they need to, that study also needs to be vetted, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's like, it's the simple formula: junk in, junk out. I mean, geez, that has not changed.
Yeah. I think those researchers are finding that there's a survival instinct.
Basically,
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Why do I even have to say that again? Or any of us have to say that again? Junk in, junk out.
Data integrity, data quality. We've heard this for years, right?
Junk in the trunk.
Yeah.
That's a.
By the way, if you guys are looking for a good analysis of the evolution of Hollywood and AI, there's the New York Times Daily podcast this past week had a really good segment on that and where they think generative AI will actually be used in entertainment and stuff. And so anyone wants to double click on that, go look it up.
Yeah.
It's a good analysis of all the elements of there's a lot of parts of Hollywood today that are very manual and very expensive and very difficult to do, and AI is going to help actually flatten that cost and enable more content to be created. Most of that will be slop, of course. We'll have the typical Netflix movie, what's that called, TNF or whatever. That'll just be AI generated slop.
Yeah.
But there's definitely it's an interesting analysis.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. By the way, I think Pete Bernard should be a disc jockey on radio. He's got the best sounding voice.
It's my microphone here. That's
Microphone. Your $30,000 microphone that you bought. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Oliver. Is it Oliver or Olivier?
It's Olivier.
Yeah, Olivier. Why do you keep calling him Oliver, man?
Who call me Oliver? No, yeah, Pete sometimes is like, but that's fine. No worries. He most of the time called me Olivier. That's okay.
I figured. Yeah, because I saw that extra I that doesn't look like it belongs there, but is, so that makes you French. Anyways,
that's all it takes.
Say, all right.
Much.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's that time. To take us out.
I think Ryan should take us out because I hardly ever see him.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's so funny how he gets nervous.
I always forget. I'm bad at these things. Let's see. Thanks for joining us on IoT Coffee Talk. Make sure you donate to elevateourkids.org. Very important cause that we all care about, and you should too. That's all.
Okay. Merry Christmas.
Done.
See you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
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 See you on the other side. Have a great week.